Section 6.1 Polynomials. Please write down the essential question. How do I add and subtract polynomials and classify polynomials? A monomial is a number or a product of numbers and variables with whole number exponents. A polynomial is a monomial or a sum or difference of monomials. Each monomial in a polynomial is a term. Because a monomial has only one term, it is the simplest type of polynomial. So here's some examples right here of polynomials. 3x to the fourth and so forth. And then here's examples of things that are not polynomials. And the reason these are not polynomials is you cannot have a variable as an exponent. You cannot have an absolute value of variables. You cannot have a variable in the denominator. You cannot have a variable under a radical or a square root. And you cannot have exponents that are decimals. All of the variables must have whole number exponents. The degree of a monomial is the sum of the exponents of the variables. So let's do example 1. Identify the degree of each monomial. These are monomials because there's only one term. So obviously the degree here is just going to be 6. The degree here, there is no exponent, so it's 0. The degree here, well, the exponent on the x is a 1. The exponent on a constant is a 0. So 1 plus 3 is 4. Here we have a 2 on the A, a 1 on the B, and a 3 on the C. So 2 plus 1 plus 3, well, that is equal to 6. So those are the degrees of each monomial. Next, the degree of a polynomial is a little bit different. It's given by the term with the greatest degree. So to find the degree of a polynomial, number 1, we're going to write the polynomial in standard form. And then the degree of the first term is the degree of the polynomial. So here's a great example. This is in standard form. You go to the first term, the degree of that first term all by itself is a monomial, is a 3. So the degree of the whole polynomial is 3. A polynomial can be classified by its number of terms. A polynomial with 2 terms is called a binomial, and a polynomial with 3 terms is called a trinomial. A polynomial can also be classified by its degree. And here's some examples right here. If the degree of the polynomial is a 0, it's a constant. And we kind of talked about that back in this example right here. This was a constant. The degree was 0. The degree, if the polynomial has a degree of 1, it's linear. Degree of 2, quadratic. We're already familiar with that. A degree of 3, cubic. 4, quartic. 5, quintic. I wrote a little extra piece of information down below here. Terms are separated by plus or minus signs. Polynomial is classified by degree and number of terms. We're going to talk about that now. So example 2, we're going to rewrite each polynomial in standard form, and then we're going to identify the leading coefficient, the degree, and the number of terms. And we're even going to name that polynomial. Lots going on here. So first of all, standard form is going to be negative 5x squared plus 4x plus 3. The leading coefficient, so I'm just going to write that, is equal to negative 5. The degree of the polynomial, you're always looking at the first term. First term's degree is a 2. The number of terms, 1, 2, 3, there's 3. So now we can name that polynomial. Well, we know it's a trinomial because there are 3 terms. But now the degree, we might have to refer to this table. We have a degree of 2. A degree of 2 is called a quadratic. So we would name this polynomial a quadratic trinomial. All right, part B. I'm going to put it in standard form. Standard form is going to be 8x to the 4th plus 3x squared minus 4. The leading coefficient is an 8. The degree of the polynomial, we look at the first term. The degree is a 4. The number of terms is equal to 3. And then we're going to name it. It's a trinomial because there's 3 terms, but a degree of 4 is going to be a quartic. So we're going to call this a quartic trinomial. Example 3 we will do in class. Now let's go on to the next group. To add or subtract polynomials, we're going to combine like terms. You can add or subtract horizontally or vertically. The way I like to go about this is if we're adding, the first thing I say is drop the parentheses. When you're adding, you can do that. Because if you were distributing anything, it would just be distributing a 1. Combine like terms. Well, let's do that. We have a cubed, 2x cubed, and x cubed. Well, that is going to be 2x cubed plus 1x cubed is 3x cubed. When we combine like terms, we only add or subtract the numbers in front of the variable. So we took care of that one and we took care of that one. Now we have a 5x squared. Let's see, we have a negative x and a 7x. Negative 1x plus 7x is 6x plus 4. Oh, wait a minute, though. Not plus 4. 9. I forgot about the 9. 9 plus 4 is 13. And there we go. We have our polynomial after we added these 2 polynomials together. Okay, let's name this polynomial. There are 4 terms, and the degree is 3, and we have 4 terms. So a degree of 3, recall, let's go to our little table here. A degree of 3 is a cubic. So we are going to have a cubic polynomial with 4 terms. When there's 2 terms, it's called a binomial. When there's 3 terms, it's called a trinomial. When there's more than 3 terms, we say polynomial with the number of terms. Example 5, we're going to do. All right. We are subtracting. So the only difference is when you're subtracting, we have to distribute that minus to everything to the right of it. I can drop this first parentheses. So then I have negative x squared minus 6 plus x. All right, x squared, negative 2x squared minus x squared is negative 3x squared. We have an x all by itself. And we have a 3 minus a 6 is a negative 3. So this would be called, the degree is a 2. So it's a quadratic. And there's 3 terms. So that would be called a trinomial. We're going to do example 6 in class, and here are your video questions.